Yeah. You know what? My last video really triggered the agents. And to do them a favor, this is what I will do. I will repost it in the entirety thereof. You know? Because I know off the muscle that what I have to say, a lot of people in society that practice what I practice on my channel and have totally been fine with have had no problems. But we've only had problems because we were only educated by these idiots, which are basically government agents. Yes, they're very upset. They're very upset because they never thought that their plan would ever come to light, much more less their schemes and machinations have ever conceded to be revealed to the public. Straight up. As I said in my previous video, this is an upload and a re-upload too, into regards to what I'm saying. To the agents that are out there, we're on to you. We know who you are, we know how you operate, and we know how you would like to impede the personal interest of each individual's liberty. We do not revolve around any group, any ideology, any conspiracy theory. You're just mad because we are informed about how you operate. Now, if you don't like that, so the fuck what? So what? But this is from a publication that you idiots decided to publish out there, revised November 2013. And those of us who read and research and are not a part of the sheepfold choose to basically move forward in our own right. You're just mad. This is a quick guide to sovereign citizens. This is called UNC School of Government. Now, we already understand, those of us that do our research and read, and critically research and read, know that this is an ideology to train the nitwits. Note, much of the information for this paper was provided by detectives, and these are their names: Rob Finch and Corey Flowers of the Greensboro, North Carolina Police Department, Amy Funderburk of the North Carolina Administrative Office of the Courts, and David Adenolfi of the North Carolina Attorney General's Office. So, this is showing you the rank and file of the chosen. And I'm pretty sure that there's some Masonic structure behind all of this. Here's their definition, revised 2013. What is a sovereign citizen? Okay? Sovereign citizen is a catch-all phrase referring to a variety of anti-government individuals and groups who share some common beliefs and behaviors. The organizations to which many sovereign citizens belong have a variety of names. Moorish Nation, that came first. That's not a coincidence. The Aware Group, Washita Nation, also known as the Washita Moors. The North Carolina American Republic, Republic of the United States of America, etc. Same views may be embraced by Freemen, Freemen of the Land, Sons of Liberty, and Aryan Nation. Many sovereign citizens may not affiliate with any of those groups in one way or another, though all sovereign citizens, whether tied to an organization or not, adhere to a view that the existing American governmental structure, including the courts and law enforcement, is illegitimate, and that they, the sovereign citizens, retain an individual common law identity, exempting them from authority of those fraudulent government institutions. First off, let's get one thing straight. The government is illegitimate. We have numerous documentations to prove that the government is fraudulent. Now, the people who decide to not have their liberty interest totally mocked and derided by such a fraudulent institution, are only presenting themselves in propria personam in order to right the wrongs that will otherwise be illegitimately placed against them through the legal system, because indeed United States government is a occupying authority. It is in and of itself a pirating force. It is not your friend, although there are a lot of people who next month will wave their flags and talk about the pride of the American banner. That banner is a pirate flag. It in and of itself is a flag to the attestation that the United States Incorporated, February 21st, 1871, is indeed a corporation here to rape, pillage, and plunder the very natural resources of the land in which you stand, you dumb motherfuckers. Sovereign citizens may issue their own driver's license and their vehicle tags, create and file their own liens against government officials who cross them, question judges about the validity of their oaths. Pause. As I said in my last video, you do not issue your own driver's license. First off, what you do is you actually receive the driver's license from the state in which you reside. And then vehicle tags are actually purchased as an unregistered, registered vehicle, which sounds like an oxymoron, but according to legal definition, it's not. Create their own liens. Anybody with personal competence can actually right a wrong against an individual. You do not file a lien against government officials. You file a lien against the person who takes office, the individual, not the government position, because they're not, by qualified immunity, exempt from prosecution. They want you to believe that they are, quote unquote, untouchable, when in reality, the person who holds the office can be lenient. And question judges about the validity of their oaths. Okay, yes, we have to, because in reality, we as people, not groups, not sovereign citizens, which is a misnomer, we do question judges about the validity of their oaths, because in order for you to hold the office of judge, you have had to have sworn yourself into a position of what? Trust, which is public trust, which is basically how you got your office. If you don't have valid proof of taking an oath to your office, then we don't have to discuss any business. Yes, we often do question judges about the validity of their oath. Yeah, they're right about that. Challenge the applicability of traffic laws to them. I mean, yeah, unless, of course, you run somebody over, you do some damage to somebody's property or somebody's person, then the question remains open: how do statutes apply to natural people? Yes, and this is one of the things that befuddle most public officials, because they often can't answer it, or they won't answer it on public record. Here it is. In extreme cases, resort to violence to protect their imagined rights. No. First off, this is training those psychosomatic maniacs that you call police to try to unleash a beast upon us, a people who practice their natural rights. Again, we don't damage people's property. We don't damage people's lives. We don't damage property. We're not here as individuals to sit here and try to do what the government does. Now, they want you to believe that we have to retaliate against government. No, we don't. It's a tyrannical force in and of itself, especially with the VA 666 INE. They're basically trying to get you. They're already declaring a state of warfare on you. Our objective is to live as peaceful people. Now, what they want to do is push us to the brink to make us look like the bad guy. You see what I'm saying? That's what they want to try to paint us as, because we already know that they are a pirating, bankrupt force bent on warfare. Now, the peaceful people, Like the indigenous and aboriginal people and the melanated people who are already here, unfortunately, were cast under the guise of their deception. But our object is not to be violent. Now, we will be violent to those who are violent against us. That is the truth. Yes, if a federal agent trespasses or basically infringes upon your private rights, you have all ability within yourself to do what you must, because you have to protect the life, which is sanctity, of your private domain. We are not people who go out in the world and cause chaos because they do it. We are not to be or to live in the shadow or to be, embanked upon their idea of us being violent. We're not. But this is what they write in their documents, and they pass it around their police departments to say that we're all violent. We're not violent. You are. That's why you send your agents out there with guns, because you know you have an agenda. You have an intent. You cannot make somebody else out to be what you are. The fuck's wrong with y'all? Here we go. It's so sickening to me in reality. And by writing and reading, they use catchphrases they can avoid any liability in our judicial system. Notice what it says, our. First off, if we're liable, we hold ourselves liable. Because if we harmed a person or their property, we hold ourselves liable. We're not saying as free persons or free natural individuals, we are not liable. That's bullshit. If we're liable, we're liable. It is what it is. We will deal with that accordingly. But to make it seem like we are totally exempt from all laws, no. We are only guided by one law, divine law, meaning if you cause harm to one, you cause harm to all, which is where you get your doctrine as the state versus one person. We didn't harm the whole state. We only harmed an individual. And if the individual doesn't come to court, which 90% of the chance you all try to avoid, we hold our position as saying that we have the right to be confronted by our accuser. But no, the bitch ass prosecutor comes and tries to say that he or she has the ability to speak on the right of a person when you weren't there. So that makes all your prosecutions fraud. So yes, we will stand up against that. And agents, if you watching this, fuck you. Straight up. All you people in the comment section. Oh, I don't want to. Yeah, you some fucking agents. Yeah. I already know who y'all are. I know who y'all are. I'm not dumb. How many times I had to keep saying this shit? They speak in odd quasi-legal language, and that by not... Wait. See, here's the misnomer. Odd quasi-legal language. Quasi. Semi. Basically, somewhat of a legal verbiage. Isn't that what the Constitution is? And believe that by not capitalizing, notice the word capital is where you get the root of capitalism, which is by your trust association. These bankers behind the scenes can basically gain their foothold. And by writing and reading and using certain catchphrases. Oh, so you're educated. They can avoid any liability in our judicial system. They even think that they can lay claim to vast sums of money held by the United States Treasury, all caps, based on the premise of the government that has secretly pledged them as security for the country's debts. Which is true, because in 1933, all the then 42 governors basically pledged the citizenry as collateral for the Chapter 11 reorganization expenses. Do your research. That's proven fact. On the premise the government has secretly pledged them as security for the country's debts based on these beliefs and a twisted understanding of the Uniform Commercial Code. If you're an individual who reads and researches, there is no twisted understanding. There's an overstanding of the Uniform Commercial Code because you actually have a volume to reference to. That's not twisted. It's called reference. What they want the world to believe in their eyes is that they're right and you're wrong, when in reality, you're actually correcting the wrong in which they want to believe that they're right. You're flipping shit on its head. Agents, All you motherfuckers that had something to say in the comment section, all you people that feel threatened, yeah, we're threatening you because we know as free individuals who are live living people are not considered property, and we will not be used as property. We will not be used as chattel. We will not be used as transferable property. I don't know what the fuck gave y'all the inherent right to believe y'all can transfer people as commodities, but we're not having it. And yes, we will motherfucking defend ourselves if shit goes awry. Yes, that's what any living thing does. You back a jaguar up in the cage, guess what it's going to do? It's going to probably claw your fucking face off. Yeah. You took it from its natural environment, and then you turned around and basically tried to encapsulate your means around it. Get the fuck out of here. Based on these beliefs and a twisted understanding of the Uniform Commercial Code, they try various schemes. It's always has to be a scheme. When government's the biggest scheme, that they discharge them from responsibility of their debts. Yeah. At their most harmless, these are the passive sovereigns. Sovereigns are cranks. I misquoted. Sovereign citizens are cranks who talk what seems like gibberish to cops and magistrates and judges, then become law-abiding when they face real legal trouble. No, that's not true. First off, we don't speak gibberish because it's all legal, because when you talk to a cop, that's a transaction. That's something that is basically a transferable action. And when it comes to magistrates, which is your first appearance, and judges, which are one and of the same, we do not face the legal adversities when we've done a wrong to someone. If I went out and took someone's life, there is no accountability because that person's life is gone. However, when the legal system takes someone's life, when the legal system kills someone, it's justified through qualified immunity. But when the natural person, maybe by accident, the people or the populace are always held under scrutiny while the government gets a free ride. Try to exempt ourselves. Aren't y'all the ones who exempt yourselves? Aren't y'all the ones who say, oh, well, it's justified based upon what we reviewed and went before a grand jury? Who the fuck is the grand jury? At a different level, they may severely burden the courts and other government offices with the filing of hundreds and hundreds of pages. No. We only see you one. And if you don't wish to answer, then we'll see you an additional 3. It's not hundreds and hundreds of pages. That's first off, that's a burden to us and to our pocket for trying to get you to actually say something that you're not going to respond to. That's ridiculous. 1 to 3 pages, if you do your math, that actually adds up to an additional 1 page, which is 4, not hundreds. They may severely burden the courts and other government offices with the filing of hundreds and hundreds of pages of nonsensical documents. What documents are you referring to? You don't say. And at their very worst, they may resort to deadly force to defend their strange beliefs. No. Again, if a person has the reasonability to feel as if their life is in danger, and this is why cops carry guns, this is why ATF carries guns, and this is why FBI carries guns, and this is why all of the paramilitary organizations of the government carry guns, it's because they have a reason to believe their life is in danger. But the common populace has a right to defend themselves in reasonability that you have the same reasonability that they are in danger. It's simple. Take away the human populace and send your best agents out to some of the most wild parts of any nation, wherever. And guess what? Take away their guns. Take them away. We'll talk about it later. Straight. Guess what they're going to do? Resort to some form of defense. See, the thing that they want to try to incriminate the people today, about is that the fact that they don't want you to defend yourself. They want you defenseless. They want you weak. They want you stricken down in order to enforce their idea of a new world order. They want sovereignty extinguished from amongst people because it's a threat against their limited government. Now, I don't care about the summations of money that they actually spend amongst their puppets. Kamala, Biden, Trump, Pence, puppets. They work for the agenda. They cannot do their own bidding. Yes, they hold office, but they don't do shit. But I guarantee you, you can name the vice president and the president, but you can't name the 9 justices of the motherfucking Supreme Court without Googling the reference. I bet you can't. I know you can't. Thank you. And that's another branch of government in and of itself, which is by checks and balances cannot be checked by the executive. You can't even name 5 congressmen who represent you. But you talk about Kamala, Biden, Kamala. That's the executive. That's the CEO. But you can't name your own state rep. You can't even name your own state representative without Googling. Get the fuck out of here. What they believe. Although the myriad sovereign citizens groups and individuals not tied to a particular group, notice they say individuals not tied to a particular group, people who actually practice this or consider individuals not tied to a particular group, all have their own idiosyncrasies in their beliefs. Obviously, they've been infiltrated. They tend to share some common ideas. The first is that there are 2 classes of citizens within the United States. One class is sovereign or de jure citizens of the original citizens of the United States, which is right. The second class, first created by the 14th Amendment, is federal or U.S. citizens, otherwise considered corporate property. Enjoy all the rights of the Constitution, but indeed you don't, because you didn't sign it. But federal citizens do not. That's a misnomer. Federal citizens, the sovereigns believe, have bargained away their freedoms by accepting benefits from the United States government. Pretty much true. So you can't be sovereign and citizen by their own literature. Read it. If you don't believe me. Much of what sovereigns do is intended to rescind or denounce their federal citizenship. Federal citizenship means corporate sponsorship. It's always a shit. And reclaim their common law of sovereign right status with all its rights. That helps explain why they refuse to get driver's licenses. That's not true. Or register vehicles. That's not true. Reject Social Security, avoid using zip codes, and may not pay taxes because those are all forms of contracting with the government and accepting the lesser class of federal citizenship, which is true. Reconstruction history is important to many sovereigns, or what they call sovereign citizens. Their view is that the governments established in southern states after the dissolution and the absolvement and the rescission of the southern states at the Civil War were imposed against the will and without the consent of citizens, which in and of itself had no say-so from melanated people if you go back to Reconstructionist history. These sovereigns distinguish between the original state. If you go back to the Dred Scott case and you read the entirety thereof, not just paraphrasing, you'll see exactly what I'm saying is very true. A false illegitimate state that occupies the same territory. Right. And as mentioned, the view of the 14th Amendment as a source of the new separate class of federal citizenship. How the fuck do y'all have the knowledge of this and everybody else is supposed to be ignorant to this when we recognize the same things that y'all do, but y'all still practice the same form of federal governments or governance that basically absolves all the rights of the people whenever you fucking want it to? Are we just supposed to be that damn dumb, or you just think that we're the damn blind? A second significant tenet for sovereign citizens, blending for the distinction between sovereign and federal citizens. Notice what it says, sovereign and federal citizens, is that when the federal government abandoned the gold standard in the 1930s, actually it did it in February 21st, 1871, but we're not going to talk about that because you think that all of us are supposed to be just as dumb and blind as you believe us to be. It substituted citizens as collateral for the country's debts by pledging each citizen's future earnings to foreign investors, which is why you have a Social Security number. It's a proven fact. Security and Exchange Commission will tell you the truth about that. And a stockbroker, if you have one and underneath your wingfold, will tell you the exact same thing. As with all the aspects of sovereign ideology. Oh, now it's sovereign ideology. It's not sovereign citizen ideology. It's sovereign ideology. The details can vary considerably, but generally the explanation of how it happens is that a secret United States Treasury account is set up for each citizen at birth, which is what a bond is, which is what a birth certificate is. If you don't understand what a birth certificate is, it's the ideation and evaluation and the actual summation of the amount that the actual entity is supposed to produce. So if McDonald's, which is a corporate entity, gives you $1,000 credit and a certificate redeemable, because they used to do this in the past, they don't do it anymore. If they give you $1,000 certificate, redeemable in its value, you only get up to $1,000, but they give you a certificate, which is a piece of paper, which comes like a bank stock, which is basically what your birth certificate is printed on. People say $630,000 is a common number to millions, depending on what sovereign citizens group version you hear. As a consequence, they say two separate identities are created, which is the truth. The corporate shell account, the one that pledges security, is the straw man, the corporation, which everyone possesses, even these dickheads writing the paper. To which sovereign citizens, which is a misnomer, referred to and in their view is separate and distinct from the true flesh and blood identity, which it is because you're considered the live, living man or woman who signed the surety for their governmental debts they created. In sovereign citizens' view, the government control an enslaved straw man is evidenced by a document showing the person's name in all cap letters, birth certificates, social security cards, driver's licenses, tax forms, etc. Now, look at all your forms and tell me what name is actually displayed on the form, and then we can have a variance about the description of this particular argument that they wish to bolster against society. And then look up the definition of straw man, and it says particularly in Black's Law Dictionary, it allows the government to do something which is lawful, which is otherwise considered illegal. Right. A sovereign citizen avoids inadvertent subjection to this false government and avoids being mistaken for a federal citizen by signing documents in a certain manner. For example, by identifying oneself as John Doe, executive trustee for the private contract trust known as John Doe, which is the correct signature. Or by identifying oneself as executive for the strawman and using a copyright symbol with the name, or saying John Doe, secure party, authorized representative, attorney in fact, in behalf of John Doe, which is right. Or interspersing colons or hyphens with other odd punctuation in the name of using the prefix noble or the suffix bay or elbe with one's name and so on. To further avoid inadvertent submission to the false government, the sovereign may use red ink, add thumbprints to documents, put the zip code in brackets or say near as part of the address. There are innumerable varieties of this queer view of the law, but all are intended by the sovereign citizen to make sure you are no longer dealing with the enslaved straw man or a federal citizen with limited rights. You now have the real common law, flesh and blood sovereign citizen in front of you. You can't be a citizen. I'm only going to read but so much because I know that the agents who basically had something to say about the variance of what I said on my video will have a problem. I'm sure you will, because obviously if you published a publication, you know the status of the people in regards to their status about how they go about their commercial affairs. I'm sorry, but the jig is up. There are people who are out here who know what they're reading and know what they're supposed to be interspersed with in regards to their well-being. But you want to try to color us bad as if you've always done to try to deflect the actual animosity towards us, people who are free-loving people, to believe in your system as engineered chaos. That's all it is. If I gave the average, and I'm talking about if I gave the most illegitimately educated person in society a double-sided piece of 8x11 paper and told them what good has the government done to you on the front, put it, and then on the back, put what they haven't done for you, I bet you the back will be filled up before the front. Don't get me started on that piece of paper. But don't try to color people bad because they are aware to your bullshit. All my channel is here to do, and fuck you agents, don't contact me whatsoever. But all my channel is here to do is to inform people of who they are and who they are not. Period. That's just the way it's going to go. If it's your first time viewing this channel, like and subscribe. Agents and third parties, associates, and the like, don't contact me whatsoever. Don't contact me at all. Don't. Because you're doing the bidding of the beast. I don't give a fuck what color you are, what you call yourself. I'm a Moor and all this. I know all of that shit. I know all of that. I was born in North New Jersey, the home of the Moors movement. I ain't gonna say Moor-ish because that's disrespectful. But real talk. I was born there. I'll show you in a video later in the future my birth certificate. I ain't gotta lie about that shit. I was born there in New Ark. The New Ark. The New Covenant. Born there. I was born in Beth Israel Hospital. Goddamn, how much closer can you get? I know some people might say, well, that don't hold no weight, salt. Man, fuck you. You weren't born there, so what the fuck you got rights to claim title and anything? It's considered my birthright because it spoke to my people and my generation first before it got displayed to you in a publication. And only people who resonate with the colonialist ideology will only disagree with what I'm saying. Straight. You agree with the side of the adversary. Let me tell you something. Shit's heating up in society. Shit's heating up culturally. Shit's heating up spiritually. It ain't no time to be choosing no side of the fence. You either in the shit or you out of it. If you want to side with the oppressor, so the fuck what? Go ahead and do it. Because you're going to fall with Babylon the day when shit hits the fan too. But if you want to side with the side of the genuine, true creator, great. But it ain't no fence riding no more. None. And stop believing the lies that perpetuate its fucking inception from the tongue of the motherfucking adversary. Straight up. All you people that say y'all spiritual and shit will stand the fuck up. Other than that, if you ain't about that life, sit the fuck down. Don't post no fucking tweets. Don't do shit. Just sit on the sideline and just let these motherfuckers rape you like they've been doing. But if you down and you real with this spiritual battle, then get ready to get your motherfucking hands dirty. Straight up. Y'all believe the lie that motherfucking oppressor before you actually have some self-identity. Worried about what the fuck they thinking. They already know what they thinking. In order for you to understand what they thinking, you better understand your identity. And stop being and if you're watching this around kids, please pause the video for what I'm about to say. Stop being a bitch. Stop being scared. You've been scared all your life. Some of y'all don't even want to go grocery shopping because y'all think the goddamn cops gonna kill you. They psychologically traumatize you every fucking day. Enough to impair your ability. How much more do y'all motherfucking need before you wake the fuck up and start doing shit on your own? Some of y'all in your own household let your women talk to you any type of way. Yeah, I'm talking to you. If this applies to you. Now, I ain't saying disrespect your woman, but I'm just saying at the same token, you got to be a certain degree of man in order for your woman to disrespect you. But then you go out there with that same level of confidence and let your employer abuse you too. And at the same token, take your wages. At the same token, pay your taxes to somebody who ain't worked as hard as you did. When you gonna wake the fuck up? When? How much more do you need to go through before you can actually identify yourself with who you're supposed to be? Because this video is just a testament to something you probably already knew your whole fucking life. But lo and behold, My people perish for a lack of knowledge. Notice what it said, perish for a lack of knowledge. You will perish due to lack of knowledge. Straight. And you will perish based upon the notion of the knowledge in which you actually gain the source of the information from. Because Mystery Babylon, this institution that you call your proud United States, is not here to educate you on the proper value of self. It's here to basically disintegrate you morally, physically, and spiritually. Straight. They're trying to confuse the children now that there are multiple genders. Huh? As it says, quote unquote, get out of her, my people, lest you partake in her sins, lest you partake in her transgressions and the measure of her cup. See, Babylon gonna keep doing what it's doing because Babylon already contracted a long time ago to keep doing what it's doing because it knows what its end eventually will be. It knows it. That's why it's everywhere. It's permeating your existence. It's trying to take you down with it. Now, if you want to go. Go. But my people, it said, my people, come out of her, which means you have to awaken yourself and step the fuck away. Now, this is going to cause some very tremendous occurrences in most people's lives because get away from your fucking family, get away from your loved ones, and get away from the bedmate that you're dealing with who doesn't want you to come to the higher ascension of self. It is what it is. Sometimes you have to make sacrifices, and sacrifices are not that pleasant. None. It's easier to sacrifice a family member than it is to sacrifice something you like. How many sacrifices have you actually taken away from yourself? How many things have you done? Don't answer that question aloud. Just ask yourself that question. But don't be asleep when it comes time to actually fight the warfare. Because if this is the documentation they're putting out there, just think about all the millions of individuals who function on this same wavelength. And just think about yourself as being a microcosm to basically the macrocosm of people who want to oppress that. The war is strong. But if you have the battle within yourself, the war is already won because you live on the side of the truth and not the side of the deceiver. Straight. You figure it out. First time you're on this channel, like and subscribe. You agents, fuck you, and fuck you again. Because all you try to do is try to come on these channels and try to garner information from people of the ilk. And then you try to sit here and flip it upon them and making it seem like they're wrong. We have all these historical references to prove that y'all the fraud. Y'all just trying to keep other people away from the fraud by putting up these false websites, putting up these false channels, putting up this false ideology, and making people run around in circles to try to benefit your system as opposed to benefiting their livelihood, which keeps a lot of you cocksuckers well fleeced and keeps the people still left in their logical state of mind. I ain't got no shame in saying it. It is what it is. Do something about it. Until then, stay tuned for the next upload. People, wake the fuck up from your slumber before it's too late. Before it's too late. Other than that, it is what it is. And if anybody has any variance of what I say, we can have a Zoom meeting and discuss this shit all day. Agents, I invite you to that Zoom meeting. I invite you to that discourse. I invite you to rebut everything I'm saying. But until then, don't tell me shit until you can provide proof that you ain't crooked. Because I will never bow down to the altar of the serpent. And that's what y'all are. Straight. Bunch of fucking snakes and thieves and liars and destroyers. Everywhere you go. And the sad part is, y'all have most of the populace of people out here in this country going behind y'all scheme, thinking that y'all right when you go behind other countries and actually invade their territory, kill their motherfucking natives, and basically pillage and plunder them for resources in the names of patriotism. Y'all ain't shit. and people of color that are melanated, y'all better wake the fuck up. Straight up. And stop believing that this shit is right. I stand by this president. I stand by... No, you don't. They have the resources to garner the destruction of these countries. How the fuck you gonna stand by somebody like that? You don't even have enough money barely to pay your fucking bills. But I stand by Palestine. Man, you better wake the fuck up, man. Straight up. Peace, light, love. To all those who seek the truth. If you seek the deceiver, man, fuck you, man. Straight. That's all I got to say. Agents, if you don't like what I had to say in my last video, bitch, here's a re-upload, motherfucker. So what? The stance ain't gonna change. It is what it is. Stay dangerous.